Hey there, academic besties. Over the next 3 videos of Soulful Study Sunday, I'm going to show you how to create a consistent study routine. Now, this mini project of mine came about when I received an enormous amount of feedback on a survey I sent out where I asked you where you currently stand with your study routine. Over 60% of you said that you've randomly tried many of the suggested study routines, but what you wanted was a consistent study routine that you can use over and over, class after class. You wanted this consistent study routine so that you can get A's in all of your classes, but 50% of you were getting lower than B's in your current classes. So what this told me was that you have big goals, but you're missing one important thing, and that is a plan or a study routine that will help you achieve those grades. And in order for us to dive in, we first need to address 2 questions. Number 1, what is a study routine? And number 2, what is the purpose of a study routine? A routine is a sequence of activities or actions that you perform regularly. So, a study routine is then a sequence of learning activities or learning actions that you perform regularly throughout the semester. Now, fundamentally, the purpose of a routine is physiological. It's the way that our brain makes itself more efficient. It's how it preserves its energy. Because now, if something is routine, it doesn't have to think about all the little insignificant actions like walking, and instead it can use its brain power for more life-saving and life-changing decisions. This concept was proven in a study done by Anne Graybill at MIT. She placed tiny electrodes in the inside of rats' brains and placed them in a T-shaped maze that at one of the ends would have a piece of chocolate. Now, initially when these rats were placed in this maze, they would run up and down, run up the walls, but eventually they would stumble upon this piece of chocolate. However, they didn't really have a plan or a way to get to the chocolate. It just sort of happened in their snooping. Their electrical activity or brain activity was literally going crazy as they were learning and taking new information and exploring this new maze. Eventually, the researchers introduced a set of patterns that would direct the rats to where the piece of chocolate was going to be. So the rats were being placed in the maze, a gate would open, there would be a piece of music playing that would alert the rat to which end of the T-shaped maze the chocolate was going to be. As the rats became familiar with the layout of the maze and became familiar with the cues or the steps that would help them get to the chocolate, their brain didn't need to think as hard because it became familiar. Now, while I was going through the study, I couldn't help but notice that there was a more apparent purpose for these routines, that the researchers were talking around but not directly about. And that is that routines supply us with a set of steps that if we follow, inevitably will help us achieve our outcome or our goals. In the case of the rats, following this routine or these set of steps would help them eat a piece of chocolate every single day. In the case of students, following a clear set of steps or a routine will help them achieve the grades that they want in their exams and the grades that they want in their class. So the question begs to be asked, what makes for a good routine? Well, in my opinion, a good routine consists of 3 key elements. Number 1, it must serve a purpose. So you have to figure out, what is the reason that I am trying to put this routine in place? What am I hoping to get out of it? In the case of the rats, the routine was helping them get to that piece of chocolate every single day. Number 2, it must contain a set of detailed steps that can be duplicated. So what are the steps that you're going to include in your routine that will help you achieve the outcome or the purpose of that routine? In the case of the rats, we've already identified that the purpose was getting to the chocolate. Well, if they followed the steps of being placed in the maze, waiting for the gate to open, listening to the music, and then following where that music was being played, they would get to the chocolate. And the last element of a good routine is it must contain a revision to assess whether or not that routine is helping you achieve the purpose that it was set out to help you get in the first place. And if it isn't, it must allow you to backtrack your steps, and get better, improve, and course correct if needed. Now let's take, for example, if the rats were being placed in the maze, the gate was opening, the music was sounding, and they dashed in the direction of the chocolate. But when they got there, the chocolate wasn't there. Now, if the rats had the brain capacity to assess that situation, they might backtrack and walk through the steps. Well, I was placed in the maze, the gate opened, and the sound went off, and I ran in, the chocolate wasn't there. Did something go wrong? Do I need to change something? This is the thought process that you need to have when you're assessing your routine. If it's not helping you achieve the purpose that you said it was supposed to help you get, then do you need to figure out what steps in your routine aren't working? That is the purpose of the revision, is to really help you improve and help you course correct if you need to. The reason why your current study routine isn't working is because you're either missing one or all of the 3 key elements I said are in a good routine. The other thing is that you feel like a routine stifles you or impedes your freedom, instead of looking at it from the perspective of it actually gives you freedom, because now your brain isn't dedicating energy every single day to figure out, what do I need to do in order to achieve my grade goal? Instead, you know that you have a set of steps that work, that you can follow every single time. Now, you could have a routine in place and the routine can have a purpose, but maybe your routine doesn't consist of clear steps that you can easily duplicate. In fact, many college students say that they change their study routine day to day, exam to exam, week to week, which doesn't allow you to perform a revision because there's no control. How are you going to be able to assess something if you've never stuck with it long enough to see the results, to see if it worked? A good routine, when followed and assessed regularly, should help you achieve the desired outcome that it's supposed to help you achieve. In the next video, I'm going to show you the learning activities and the learning actions that your study routine should include. But until then, what I want you to focus on is performing an audit of your current study routine. And what I've done is I've created a study routine audit cram sheet that you can download and follow to figure out which of the 3 key components of a study routine you're currently missing or need to improve. Now, if this video already helped you pinpoint which key element of a good routine you're missing, then I want you to go ahead and comment below. I would love to help you brainstorm on how you can improve it or even come up with a routine if you currently don't have one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed the episode of Soulful Study Sunday you just watched. I have so many more study skills and practical college advice in the Rock at College system, a step-by-step blueprint for creating your own study system. Get better grades without the stress, overwhelm, and lack of social life over at rockatcollege.com.